The biggest and probably most impactful for me was taking the moment before doing an activity or doing a specific example and asking the students if they could relate or how they could relate to that, and being willing to on the fly change that. And it was part of Hancock, I want to say Academy 2 or something like that, equity or like engagement, something with, your students aren't necessarily who you think they are. They aren't really interested necessarily in what you think they're interested in. And textbooks aren't necessarily written for them. And I will never forget getting to an example about SAT tests and SAT scores. And that's just something that's always been part of my vernacular and always been part of my life. And asking the students, like, how many of you took the SATs? And of my class of like 35, 3 raised their hands. And then I was like, how many of you ever heard of the SATs? And like, maybe a few more hands went up. And I was like, no, this question isn't going to be meaningful to you. And just spur of the moment, scrapping it and trying something new and different, and asking them and actually encouraging them to give me meaning behind different patterns and graphs was just really, really like class altering. So
I've tried many new things from all of my Hancock Academies that I have been a part of. One of my colleagues shared about effective group work, and I really learned a lot from her about not just putting students together to make them do work together, but what it looks like for them to each have a role, to each have a voice, to make sure that they are an active part of that group, to have them turning in work so they have to engage. And I feel like my group work, which I do actually every class period now, has really become much more effective. My students now are turning in their work every day, so they can't just skate by in the group. There can't be that one slacker in the group. I've seen now that everyone is actively engaged. They've had much more deep mathematical conversations than they had before because I'm having them in groups. Before, if I was just lecturing and they were just empty vessels listening, I didn't know if they were learning. And now I can walk around and talk to them and hear them talking to each other. And I now know that they are engaging and they are learning.
During Hancock Academy, I was teaching a calculus class, and it was at 8 a.m. And if you've ever seen STEM students at 8 a.m., they might as well be dead. I mean, they're just like, you could just see their eyes rolling over in the back of their heads. And I remember I was just lecturing, doing my thing like I normally do, and just looking sort of out into the crowd and seeing everybody's bored faces, it looked like their dog had just died or something like that. And I after that day, I was like, man, I got to try something different. And conveniently, it was in the middle of when we were doing this Hancock Academy, and I had always wanted to try experimenting with like a flipped classroom idea. And I thought, like, wow, that's going to be way too much work to commit to. I'm already in the middle of the semester. I don't really know how to execute something like that. But in the meetings in Hancock Academy, they really encourage us to not try to change everything that you do, but just do something small. Just make one small positive change in the right direction. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do that. So what I did was I started, instead of just lecturing like I normally do, I started sort of pre-typing the notes ahead of time, sort of like making guided notes, and just trying to make the classroom a little bit more active learning style and less passive, I guess. And honestly, like after the first day of doing it, like I remember walking into class and just seeing the energy in the room uplift, and people were actually talking to each other and laughing and telling jokes, and you could tell like people really appreciated the opportunity to actually get up and move and work with each other and get their brains moving like while they're in class. So I thought that was really great too. I probably wouldn't have done that if it wasn't for the little push that I got from you guys at Hancock Academy.